Okay, ready to go deep into a swamp, but not just any swamp. We're diving into Shrek, that animated film from 2001 that, well, everybody seems to love. We've got articles, we've got IMDb trivia, even some pretty passionate user reviews, and we're going to figure out what makes Shrek tick.
Right. Is it just a funny movie? Or is there something else going on under the surface?
Yeah, like what's the deal?
Well, one thing that really jumps out is Shrek winning the very first Oscar for Best Animated Feature.
Oh, yeah.
And it beat out some big films, too, like Monsters, Inc. was in that category. So it wasn't just a box office win, you know? It was like a signal that, hey, animated films are changing. They're not just for kids anymore.
Yeah, and one review even said Shrek might have actually changed the whole animation game.
How so?
Well, think about it. It was one of the first films to use CGI so much, especially for a character like Fiona, all those details. So, did Shrek help usher in the era of computer animation and maybe even, like, contribute to the decline of hand-drawn?
It's definitely a possibility. Like, remember Fiona's hair? All those individual strands moving around?
Oh.
Revolutionary for 2001. It showed audiences what CGI could really do. Shrek might have been a turning point for how studios approached animation from then on.
So we've got this groundbreaking animation, but what about the characters? Everyone loves Donkey, right? Eddie Murphy's performance is hilarious. But one user had this interesting take that Donkey isn't just comic relief.
Right.
They said he has a kind of wisdom. And he actually helps Shrek grow as a character.
It's amazing how a character that seems so simple on the surface can actually have so much depth. Donkey's constantly pushing Shrek out of his comfort zone. He's forcing him to confront those prejudices, even if it's through, annoying questions and observations.
And it brings us to something a lot of reviewers mention, the satire in Shrek, the way it pokes fun at, modern society, especially with Duloc, that whole thing. It's all bright colors and fake smiles, kind of like,
Yeah.
well,
Exactly. And that scene where Fiona's singing makes the bluebird explode. Shocking, right? But it also makes you think, maybe Shrek is using humor to tackle bigger issues, like how society defines beauty or how obsessed we are with appearances.
So maybe it's not just a kid's movie after all.
Maybe not.
And speaking of things that aren't what they seem, let's talk about the music. I mean, All Star by Smash Mouth, iconic. But the whole soundtrack is this mix of pop and rock.
Interesting.
And one user even said those modern music choices in the tournament scene, they're deliberate. They add to the whole satirical vibe of Duloc.
Like they're using the music to highlight how absurd it all is.
Exactly.
And while we're on the topic of deeper meanings, one user had a really wild interpretation. This user, by the way, is an anthropologist.
Okay.
They said Shrek could be seen as an allegory for historical events, like Lord Farquaad and how he treats the fairytale creatures. It mirrors the persecution of certain groups throughout history.
Wow, that's deep. So we've got this groundbreaking animation, satirical humor, maybe even historical parallels. But one reviewer said the reason Shrek is still so popular is because it works on different levels. Like, kids love the slapstick, the fart jokes.
Right.
But adults, they pick up on the wordplay, the more mature themes.
It's like the film is saying, hey, everyone's welcome here. Doesn't matter your age, your sense of humor, come on in. And that might be one of the biggest reasons why Shrek has stood the test of time.
And let's not forget, Shrek isn't afraid to get a little gross. Like that opening scene, it's not exactly your typical fairy tale.
Yeah, that's true. But I think all that ogreness, it's actually really important to the film's message.
Okay.
By showing us Shrek's swamp and all its, swampiness, it kind of challenges what we think is ugly.
Right.
It's like Shrek is saying beauty isn't just about, looking pretty. It's about accepting yourself, even those messy parts.
Yeah, and that whole idea of finding a place where you can just be yourself, that seems to be a big theme too.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, think about Shrek's swamp. It might seem kind of repulsive to some people.
Sure.
But it's his sanctuary, right? He's comfortable there. No judgment.
And Fiona's transformation scene, that plays into that too.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about her changing physically. It's about her accepting her true self, even the ogre side that society might reject.
And the film doesn't shy away from showing how much that societal pressure can really hurt. Fiona's so afraid to show Shrek her ogre form. Makes you think about all those unrealistic beauty standards we face and how they can, make us hide who we truly are.
It's a reminder that true happiness, it comes from being accepted for who you are, not for
Yeah.
who you're pretending to be. And Shrek's love for Fiona, ogre and all, it helps her break free from those expectations. Their relationship is a powerful message about accepting yourself and others flaws and all.
So we've got this groundbreaking animation, social satire, complex characters, and a swamp full of deeper meanings. But what about the last of the appeal? Why are we still talking about Shrek over 2 decades later?
It's probably a mix of things. For one, the characters are incredibly relatable. We all know a Shrek, a donkey, a Fiona. They reflect different parts of ourselves and the struggles we all face.
And let's not forget the humor. Those one-liners, the slapstick, the puns, it's all so cleverly done.
Yeah.
Shrek is a masterclass in comedic timing.
It's a film you can watch over and over again, and you still catch something new every time. And I think that's another reason for its enduring appeal. It caters to multiple audiences. Kids, they love the bright colors, the silly characters, the fart jokes. But adults can appreciate the satire, the social commentary, the really nuanced performances.
Shrek is a movie the whole family can enjoy, each in their own way. It's like it created a whole new genre of animated film,
Yeah.
one that's both hilarious and thought-provoking, irreverent yet heartwarming. And let's be honest, there's a nostalgia factor too. Shrek reminds a lot of people of a specific time in their lives.
Exactly. It's that feeling of comfort and familiarity, like revisiting a favorite childhood memory.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, it makes you wonder how Shrek would be received if it were made today. Would it still resonate with a 2025 audience?
That's a good question. On one hand, our world is, arguably even more obsessed with image and perfection than it was back in 2001.
So maybe the message of self-acceptance would be even more powerful today. We're constantly bombarded with these perfect images on social media. It's easy to forget that it's okay to be different, to embrace those imperfections.
But at the same time, humor evolves.
Right.
Some of those jokes from 2001, they might not land the same way with a younger, more digitally savvy audience today.
Right. And think about how much animation technology has advanced since Shrek. Would a 2025 version even look the same? Would it have the same impact?
It's impossible to say for sure, but one thing is certain. Shrek changed animation forever. It proved that animated films could be smart, funny, and even a little subversive.
Yeah.
It opened the door for a new kind of storytelling.
Shrek broke the mold. It showed that animation can be more than just entertainment for kids. It could be witty, thought-provoking, and, yeah, even a little gross, all at the same time.
Right.
And that combination really resonated with audiences of all ages.
And speaking of resonating with audiences, let's talk about the character design. Those expressive faces, the tiny details, like donkey's floppy ears, it all just adds to the film's charm.
Yeah, absolutely. The animators did an amazing job bringing these characters to life. They used the technology to create a world that wasn't just visually impressive, it had real heart.
But what really struck me was how Shrek turned those classic fairy tale tropes upside down. The damsel in distress, she becomes a strong, independent woman. The handsome prince, he's actually a power-hungry villain. And the ogre, the creature we're all supposed to be afraid of, he becomes the hero. It's like they took everything we thought we knew about fairy tales and flipped it on its head.
It's a reminder not to judge a book by its cover, or an ogre by its swamp mud.
It's not just about appearances, though, right? Shrek is really about looking, beyond the surface to find the beauty underneath. It's about, character and kindness. And
Yeah.
let's be honest, a good sense of humor.
And that message of self-acceptance, it's so important, especially today, right? I mean, we're surrounded by images of so-called perfection everywhere we look.
Everywhere.
It's hard to remember that it's okay to be different, to embrace our, quirks and imperfections.
Totally. Shrek is like this big green reminder to just be yourself.
Right.
And not just that, but it reminds us to accept others for who they are, even if they're different from us. Shrek and Donkey, I mean, come on, they couldn't be more different.
Totally different.
But they form this incredible bond.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the power of friendship.
It shows that true friendship can overcome, well, anything, right? Appearances, social status, even different species.
Yeah.
And speaking of Donkey, it's easy to see him as just the funny sidekick.
Oh, for sure.
But he's actually crucial to Shrek's journey. He's a confidant, a challenger, and sometimes even like a guide.
He's the Jiminy Cricket to Shrek's Pinocchio.
Exactly.
He helps Shrek see the world in a new way and ultimately leads him to Fiona. And, speaking of Fiona, she's not just some helpless princess waiting to be rescued. She's got her own desires and, isn't afraid to fight for what she wants.
She is definitely not your typical fairy tale princess. I mean, she can burk the alphabet and she can take down a bunch of knights. It's so refreshing to see a female character in an animated film, who's strong and independent.
Another reason why Shrek still feels so relevant today. It celebrates individuality and diversity, and it encourages us to look beyond those superficial judgments. So after all this, what's the verdict? Is Shrek just a funny movie, or is it something, more?
I think it's safe to say Shrek is more than just a movie. It's become this cultural phenomenon, a source of endless memes and quotes. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest heroes come in the most unexpected packages.
And that true love can bloom anywhere, even a swamp. So what stands out to you after this deep dive? What resonated the most?
Here's a final thought to chew on. If Shrek is all about embracing our inner ogre, what does your inner ogre look like? What are those parts of yourself that you might be hiding or trying to change? Maybe it's time to let them out, warts and all.
That's a great question to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Shrek, everybody.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.